Good morning, good evening, good everything in between. Welcome to the podcast. I believe it is episode 14. I am your host, the very tired Jim Mobernicky, and I am joined by the hopefully less tired Gabe Orman.
I still caught some of the broadcast today, but yeah, I'm half expecting you to hit the slow-mo button at some point tonight.
And we are also joined by probably just about as equally as tired, though he did get a nap in, as far as I know, you lucky Mr. Michael Bealey.
Dude, that nap felt like it was 6 hours instead of 2 hours. It was great.
I'm so genuinely jealous. So, as some of you listening now may have seen, we had we had a very entertaining broadcast today. Our baseball for breakfast as the Rakuten Golden Eagles took on the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks. And if you haven't seen it, you can go check it out on this very channel, and you should because it's a fun game with a lot of, honest to God, it was one of the weirdest baseball games I've ever seen in my life. Like, there was so many strange things that happened. I'm gonna try.
All I gotta say is Toshiki Abe.
Yeah. Oh my god. I'm actually gonna re-listen to it. I think at work tomorrow in the background and just try to like put timestamps where all the strange things happened. But unfortunately, because of how busy I've been over this last week and also clearly today, I don't have time. I didn't have time to get any highlights together. So we're gonna kick off the highlights segment right with Gabe. Gabe, what do you have for us this week?
I have my usual set of milestones and congratulations. On August 4th, Gregory Polanco became the 32nd player in NPB history to hit a grand slam in the first inning. The last Chibalote Marine to do it was, believe it or not, another foreigner, Brandon Laird the Sushi Boy, back in 2019. On the same day, Cebu Lions third baseman / designated hitter Takaya Nakamura reached 3,500 total bases. That's one for a single, two for a double, and so on. He's the first Cebu Lion to reach that level and only the 31st player in NPB history. So if people ask you, hey, who are some future Hall of Famers in the games we're watching? Yeah, I think Takaya Nakamura stands alone among that bunch.
For sure. I'm actually genuinely surprised that given how, successful the Lions have been their whole history, that he's the first Lion to ever do that. That's crazy. And so I think that brings us over to Mr. Michael. Do you have any highlights for us this week, or are you also on the tire train with me?
I'm extremely tired, but I did talk about it on the broadcast, and simply because we've mentioned it before, your future first overall pick, Edintaro Sasaki, no relation, is currently playing in the Koshin High School baseball tournament, so feel free to try and watch that, look up some highlights. I believe it'll be on Yahoo Japan as well as Sports Bowl, all for free. And it's currently on right now and will be on until the end of August, like 7 or 8 baseball games all day, every day until the end of the tournament. So try and catch him.
That's awesome. And also, if you can't manage to catch it yourself, I will be trying to keep up with it and start bringing us some highlights and some kind of keeping an eye out on some draft prospects that we can check out. But that brings us right over to our first ad break very early in today's show. Take a listen.
Every day across America, thousands of baseball fans are starving for live games because they're stuck working the night shift. They can't watch games live and are left to scavenge for highlight reels on YouTube. It doesn't have to be this way. For just 1,500 yen per month, you can sponsor a shift worker to get access to Pacific League TV. Live broadcasts, including farm team games, with start times between midnight and 5 a.m. Eastern, all blackout free. Your subscription also includes a decade's worth of full game videos on demand. Please find it in your heart to give the joy of Pacific League TV to the fans in your life. Visit pacificleague.com to sign up.
And so that brings us over to our Around the Horn segment, everyone's favorite part of the show, where we take a look at all the teams from top to bottom in the league and do a little in-depth analysis. And as you know, as I've said many, many, many times so far in this show, we start off with the league leading Oryx Buffaloes. Take it away, Gabe.
It's especially my favorite part of the show because I get to talk about how awesome the Oryx Buffaloes are. Now 6 games up on the Chibalote Marines, 7-3 in their last 10, winners of their last 3 in a row, including today's start. It's now 5 straight starts with 7 or more innings and 2 runs or fewer for Yoshinobu Yamamoto, the ace of aces. He threw 7 shutout innings against the Marines, Completing the shutout were Soichiro Yamazaki out of the bullpen and closer Yoshihisa Hirano. Yeah, the same guy who pitched with the Diamondbacks. He's still going. Heading into today's game, Yamamoto's FIP, fielding independent pitching, was 1.6. No one else in NPB is below 2.8. He is that good and that much better than everyone else. In the good news file, catcher Tomoya Mori is back for the Buffaloes after his leg injury. Even better news, he had an RBI triple in his first game back, so clearly the leg is not bothering him. Weird news, he was playing right field? Isn't that usually Sugimoto or Chano's spot? Anyways, he was subbed out for Tomoya Noguchi later on in the game. This isn't the first time Mori has played right field either. The last time was with the Lions back in 2016. And the way Kenya Wakatsuki has been handling things behind the dish, you let him go. One last note for the Oryx Buffaloes, breakout first baseman Yuma Tongu retains his spot atop the Pacific League batting title race with a .322 average and is now second in the Pacific League in OPS at 911. So I think it's only Yanagita or Kondo ahead of Tongu. The guy has been kicking butt.
And also on the Mori kind of subject, it makes a lot of sense to me that you'd start him back off in right field because he's coming back from injury. You probably don't want to put him right behind the plate again because everyone knows, catcher is definitely the most physically demanding position in the sport. So I think, full credit to Oryx for putting him out somewhere that he can get back in the lineup and sort of get some rehab in.
And I'm familiar with a couple of other catchers playing right field. Takiro Kajima started his career as a catcher with the Eagles before transitioning to the outfield. And last year, one of my favorite top 20 plays was Yudai Furukawa, a catcher for the Fighters, heaving a frozen rope from deep right field right to the plate. Like, you don't expect that from a catcher.
And that brings us over to the second place team, the perennial second place holders, it seems, the Chiba Lotte Marines. Take it away, Mike.
Perennial second place. Why do I feel like I should be insulted at that? Anyway, 4-6 in their last 10. Minor slump, whatever going on. They're still in second place. They're still in a playoff spot. They lost this morning to Yamamoto and Oryx, the game that I had up on my second monitor during today's broadcast. They were shut out at home, which was a shame. Because they were wearing their nice new summer jerseys. You don't want to lose in your nice new summer jerseys, especially the bootleg Miami Vice look. It's a pretty nice look. But the pitching turned up. I mean, they only gave up 2 runs. The offense decided to stay home, I guess, unlike that Rockton game, but we'll get to that. This week, I'll like to highlight Luis Perdomo, the relief pitcher for Chiba Lotte. He leads the team with 32 holds. He has a 2.35 ERA so far with a 1.17 whip. And something interesting that I noticed about him, obviously, you're going to probably play the most at your home stadium out of all their stadiums, but Zozo Marine Stadium, of course, is the stadium he's appeared at most of the season with 20 appearances. But after that, it just drops off. Like, the next stadium that he's played at the most is PayPay Dome with only 4 appearances. And then after that, it gets to like 1 and 2 appearances at other stadiums. So I mean, I thought that was kind of odd. I don't know about you guys.
It is a little odd. It's almost like the Marines don't get into safe situations when they're on the road. Either they are blown out or blowing someone else out.
But anyway, after the edits that are taking place currently, at Marine Stadium, he is pitching to a 1.40 ERA and a 0.93 whip. And the other teams are hitting 191 against him, or 0.191 against him at Marine Stadium. So, I mean, obviously he's a great pitcher and he's really pitching well for Lotte, but I guess the whole plan is to keep pitching him at Marine Stadium where those winds just howl and keep everything in the park. I'm sure he's benefiting a lot from that.
Well, yeah, I mean, if it works, don't break it, right?
Try not to.
I caught something that I wanted to chip in for the Marines. This one's from Delta Graphs on Twitter. As of August 5th, Roki Sasaki, the phenom, the monster of the Reiwa, Chiba Lotte Marines starting pitcher, leads all NPB pitchers in wins above replacement with 5.1. Yes, he's been shut down due to an oblique injury. Yoshinobu Yamamoto is right behind him. But still, on basically half a season to put up 5.1 wins above replacement, a lot of pitchers will not even get to that mark over a full season. Some may not even get to that mark over their entire career. Sasaki is just on that next echelon of performance. And if he comes back healthy for the pennant driver for the postseason, I would feel scared about playing the Marines.
Yeah,
And
that's
on
gonna
top
be...
of that, he missed that month earlier in the season with that weird seeming
Oh, right, with the
horrendous
blister. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, man, if he comes back for the postseason, that's gonna be wild. And so, as I was, earlier, I said if it ain't broke, go with it. Let's talk about something that's broke. Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks. Oh my God, is it rough watching them these days? So 2-4 over the last week as the struggles continues, with those only wins coming over probably the only team really worse than they are right now, the Fighters, and we'll get around to them obviously. As it gets with some of these teams in the bottom that are losing consistently, it's hard to kind of come up with analysis other than the team sorely misses Levan Moinello. I feel like the moment he got injured, this entire season has fallen apart for the Hawks. And I mean, especially because you look at, there's so many bullpen issues, especially in the game today against the Eagles, as anyone who watched news, it's like they went through, I feel, 4 pitchers in the 9th inning just because no one could find the plate. And I mean, obviously they wouldn't have used Moinello in that exact situation, so it's kind of a moot point in that regard, but it just feels like the whole team's unraveling in such a big way. And
I think where the Moinello loss was most felt was in the 8th inning when the Eagles scratched out that 4th run.
That's
if
true,
you put Moinello in a tied 3-3 game in the top of the 8th, it's probably still tied 3-3 after the top of the 8th.
Yeah, and you might even get a 9th inning out of him at that point, and then you could have had Asuna do another 2 innings. Anyway, point is, sucks that he's not there. Now,
come back, Moy. We miss you.
I don't know if I'm off about this, but I'm starting to feel like the Hawks are relying too much on their analytics and data, because it seems like there always seems to be like calls from the manager in terms of like strategy and pitch selection and stuff like that. And as we kind of joked about in today's broadcast, we had that legendary at bat with Abe against Arihara, which went 15 or 16 pitches or something like that. And he just kept throwing the exact same pitch, and Abe just kept fouling it off. And to me, I just feel like I don't care what the statistics say. At some point, throw something else, because Abe ended up getting a double off it. Clearly, he was getting closer every time. And I just feel like obviously statistics and analytics are important, and you should pay attention to them. But I feel like there's an over-reliance by the Hawks at this point. And maybe I'm completely crazy. Maybe Abe got that hit off of a pitch that he finally changed, and that's what's wrong. But I just feel like if there's something like it, like for a team that relies so much on analytics to be so consistently failing at this current moment, it's a weird vibe. You know what I mean? It's something that I think we need to look at for the Hawks, or they need to look at, I should say.
The thing with analytics is that you're still dealing with humans, and humans can have good days and bad days. If you want a sure thing, mathematics is that away. This is sports. Even your best analytics will only help you understand what happened. You can help you predict or prognosticate the future, but it won't guarantee anything. So that may be where the manager Fujimoto may be best served juggling the lineup a little bit. I know Big Boss Shinjo is famous for throwing people into positions they're unfamiliar with, like, sure, Kotaro Kiyomiya, play third base. I think that's an area that we may need to look like. I know Ryoya Kurihara has been the third baseman for the bulk of the season for the Hawks. Is it time to put him back in the outfield and maybe give Yanagi Machi or Makihara some time off? I saw a clip from just this past week of Ukyo Shuto at third. He seemed to be doing pretty decent, and Lord knows he's an excellent base runner. It's something to keep in mind. There's plenty of flexibility in that Hawks lineup. I'm positive they can come up with a winning combination soon.
It's weird, though. I mean, Shuto's actually a sort of a good example of something that I think is a bit of the Hawks' problem, is that the Hawks, as we know, have such a, again, don't want to use the word bloated. What's the word I want to use? Massive roster, right? They've got so many more people than everyone else. And because of that, they've got so many specialists. Like, Shuto is a great example. He's an insane base runner and pretty okay at defense, but he can't hit. He's a very poor hitter at this stage in his career. I mean, I'm sure he'll develop and get better at some point. So, on the one hand, maybe they should play him more to get some more practice time. But it feels like because all these players outside of like Yanagita, for example, are so specialized in certain areas, it feels like when one of them goes down or one of them isn't performing as well, it just kind of spirals because the other guys aren't picking up the slack because they can't, because they all kind of do like the one thing they do. Like, for example, Akira Nakamura doesn't have a lot of power, so when he's not even hitting for average, he's just a kind of a squib in the lineup while still a solid defensive player. But then you sub him out for like Alfredo de Spagna, who can only hit for power but hasn't been hitting much either, but then he becomes a defensive liability, and it just spirals and spirals and spirals, and it's just hard to deal with. And the Hawks are, again, dangerously close to falling below 500, and a team that is dangerously close to getting above 500 and chasing them down, the Rakuten Golden Eagles. Take it away, Mike.
That was a very nice lead-in. Good job on that.
Thank you.
Anyway, it's weird that you show up, do a broadcast one day, and then you leave, and your arch nemesis is a man named Toshiki Abe, who robs you of an extra hour of your nap. All kidding and sleep deprivation aside, they completely demolished SoftBank this morning. I mean, even when it was a one-run game, it looked like they were demolishing SoftBank.
Yeah, it was weird. Even like I've never seen a one-run game that I just felt like the other team was kicking the crap out of the other team more.
And the thing is, like, yeah, they smacked Arihara around, but like he kept him in the game the best he could. It was what, 3-0? You can the Hawks lineup can overcome that. I mean, Kondo hit a home run that I didn't have a home run call for and caught me off guard and tied the game. Then it was a one-run game, and I mean, that's completely doable. So I mean, I don't know. That was just they just completely destroyed them that game. But Rakuten, I'm not gonna go over their leaders or whatever because their leaders are remaining the exact same, with Asamura leading in every offensive category you can imagine, other than stolen bases. But I will highlight a specific Rakuten player this week, and I will highlight my newfound arch nemesis Toshiki Abe simply because of those at bats. I mean, yeah, they were long and they extended the game, but he was getting 14, 15 pitch at bats at the midpoint to near the end of the game, where you want to get that starter out of there so you can go into the bullpen, and then when you get the bullpen in, they're not going to be in there for that long, so you want to foul off as much as you can for them. I mean, that one at bat, it was 15, 16 pitches and all 14 were cutters.
Yeah,
that was the one that he knocked for the double as a cutter. And then Asamura, I mean, I guess I could highlight that he had 3 walks this morning.
You're correct. He did have 3 walks, moving his on-base percentage to 376 on the season.
Woo!
Did he have the home run too, or was that someone else who had the home run?
No, that was
Ogo.
That was Ogo,
okay.
And I had a great home run call. It's going for. I just totally forgot what his name was.
It happens. I mean, I'm taking a look at the box score for that game. 15 hits for the Eagles. 2 players with Modasho, which is a 3-hit game or better. Tatsumi, the center fielder, and the aforementioned Toshiki Abe, who I guess I need to go get his jersey, maybe. Can you guys remember the only player of the Eagles starting lineup who did not get a hit in today's game?
Yeah, wait. Okay, I don't remember his name, but is it the catcher?
Was he starting?
He was a starter. Sumitani got 2 hits today, actually.
Oh, who was it? I know Kobakata got a
Michael
hit.
Franco.
Yeah, it was Franco.
Damn,
0 for 3 with a strikeout. And then subbed out for Daiichi Suzuki, who got, I think, a bases loaded walk.
Yeah, Franco had a bunch of hard hit stuff, though. I think that's why my brain was drawing a blank.
Man, how many? I don't expect you to crunch the numbers real quick, but I felt like there were a million walks too. Like, God, they had so many base runners this game.
6 for the Eagles, 4 for the Hawks, and there was also the hit
Only
by
6?
pitch.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, but you have to remember Takedo Okajima got plunked twice. Once by Tauda, once by Takeda.
Oh God, what a mess of a game! Such a wild game. Fun to, the thing is, as much as we're like kind of joking and complaining about Abe, that's proper baseball. Getting 15 fouls and then a double, that's how you play baseball, man. That's awesome. But like, God, it made my life hard.
Yeah, it's fun baseball when you're not sleep deprived. On that note, make sure you tune in to FTF Sports every Tuesday through Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern to watch Pacific League games without us, but also without sleep deprivation.
There was that one Hawks pitcher that had that one Hawks pitcher, he didn't even, you pointed it out during the broadcast, Jimbo, that like when a pitcher takes a long time, he's fidgeting with his hat, his sleeves, his pants, he's cleaning off his cleats.
I forgot who it was, but he's just standing there like a statue.
Very Sungwon Oh like. You guys remember Sungwon Oh?
Oh, the Stone Buddha. Of course I remember him.
Stared at you.
Legend for the other league, yes.
Legend for 3 leagues. Well,
right.
I guess 2.
Well, all right.
He's still actually playing in the KBO.
Yeah. I think he's like
41 years
now.
old. He's still going.
Wow. Now it's impressive. Speaking of 41-year-olds that are pretty impressive, man, look at my transitions today. The Cebu
You're
Lions.
on fire,
Woo!
man. We should get you sleep deprived more.
And so the Sable Lions have gone 4-2 over the last week as they continue to slowly but surely claw their way back towards playoff contention. The main culprit and the highlight for the Lions as of late has been the starting pitching. Oh my God, is it amazing to see all these pitchers like just deal lately. Even outside of the one game this week where they got shelled by the Buffaloes, the starters have accounted for 33 strikeouts this week. They've just been mowing people down. And the offense has finally been keeping up, generally speaking. Special shout out to our aforementioned 41. He's up there. Your old Takeo Nakamura, who's finding his form again. Only played 3 games this week, but picked up 5 hits and a home run. And, kind of looks to be getting back in form. I think that's the right way to use him. You don't put him in every game. You obviously check with him and see how he's feeling. And, I think playing him every other game is definitely the right way to go. And I really think I feel like, well, obviously I feel like the Lions and Eagles have a really good chance to overtake the Hawks right now. And I would give the Lions actually a fighting chance in the playoffs against anyone if it weren't for the bullpen. The bullpen's still definitely the weak point of the team and definitely what's, I think, going to be their downfall by the end of the season. But they're playing exciting baseball, and it's great to see them turning things around.
You don't need a bullpen if Kai Matida and Kona Takahashi each go 9 innings.
Yeah, that's true. And Imai. Yeah, they've got such a strong starting rotation.
And Kaito Yoza. Yeah, that rotation, I'd actually put like maybe second in the Pacific League behind Oryx's. Now that you list them all back to back, the Fighters probably arguably are in that conversation because of their top 3 aces, but man, that's close.
Yeah, and with Sasaki out, I would put them over the Marines too. Yeah. But with Sasaki out, I'd put the Marines over them. Now, that brings us over to the final team in this week's segment. The usual final team in this week's segment, the Hokkaido Nippon Ham Fighters. Take it away, Gabe.
Hey, there was a couple of episodes in which this club was in 4th, I'll remind you.
That's true. Rakuten spent a lot of time down here.
The issue was that 13-game losing streak in which 7 or 8 of them were by 1 run, which are basically coin flips. So anyways, 4-6 in their last 10. They've dropped their last 3 in a row. What I've been noticing is that their new home has not been as kind to the Fighters as you'd expect. They're 19-30 at home. They're only 22-29 on the road, but that's still better. I wonder if there's an adjustment period with the new dimensions, the new confines, the new HVAC unit, considering they only cracked the lid last month. Hard to say. I think it's going to be interesting to see how the Fighters adjust their roster construction to better fit the new digs.
I almost wonder to an extent, just to kind of jump in there, if the field is almost excites the opposing team. You know what I mean? Like they're like, oh man, we get to play this cool new field, and like maybe they're kind of getting up to the occasion.
We can hit home runs in Hokkaido again.
Woo!
I think there is an element to that. This is the first new ballpark in almost a decade and a half in Japan. So there's that excitement around there too. They still don't have a train station outside the ballpark yet. I hear that's coming sometime in the next 5 years, but at the very least, it's only a short walk from Kita Hiroshima for those of you who are making the trek up to Hokkaido to check out the ballpark. I want to give a congrats to Yuki Nomura for getting to double-digit home runs again. After an injury-riddled and frustrating season last year, it's good to see him become a part of the core for this Fighters club, alongside Chusei Manami, Kotaro Kiyomiya, and I'd even include Daigo Kamikawabata in there just to make the group that will develop and be the central pieces of this club. Now it's a matter of supplementing that position player core. Ideally getting some foreign player help. I know they went out and got Alan Hansen. He seems to be contributing, but that carousel needs to stop at some point and settle on position players you can rely on. Heading into this week, another Fighter starter has made his appearance on the Pacific League pitching leaderboards, Naoyuki Uwasawa. I mentioned him as like the third of 3 aces alongside Hiromi Ito and Takayuki Kato. And it's good to see that he's now sitting 5th in the Pacific League in ERA at 2.66, opponent's batting average at 226, and WHIP at 1.118. His teammate, of course, Kato, is 4th in ERA and WHIP as well. That's why I'm saying, Fighters, Lions, hard to say who's really got the better starting rotation. I also caught Takayuki Kato is now up to 14 walks on the season. That's scandalous. That's actually a bad year for him. Last year, he only had 11 all season.
That's insane.
That is the power of the slop throwing control master that is Kato.
Slop throwing.
Hey, his fastball tops out at 85. He's not going to throw it fast, but good luck trying to hit it.
And so I think that brings us over to our final ad break of the evening. Take a listen.
Hey, my name's Shane, and I swear, I'm a real consumer, just like you. So I just replaced all my expensive shorts with...
What are you doing in here? I thought I threw you out already.
I gotta go, bye.
How do they keep getting in here? That's the third advertiser I've thrown out today. When you subscribe to Pacific League TV, there's no ads. Nothing in between innings, nothing for a pitching change. You get to see all the action on the field. And of course, you also get full archives going back to 2011. All the baseball you could ever want to watch, and nobody trying to convince you to buy some clothing brand you've never heard of. 1450 yen per month. That's like $10 in today's exchange rate. And you get all that and no ads. Okay, but for real, who's letting these guys in here? Jim? Gabe? Is it any of you? Well, it's not me.
And so that brings us to one of our final segments of the evening. How are our familiar faces doing stateside? Gabe, take it away.
I've got 3 tidbits. First off, MassLive.com spotted this. Masataka Yoshida getting a chance to meet his hero and former Oryx Blue Wave outfielder, Ichiro Suzuki. The two had only met once before when Yoshida was a rookie for the Buffaloes. Yoshida didn't mention any specific advice, just chit-chat. Ichiro has said that he's been keeping an eye on Yoshida's results in MLB, and that was a big honor for Masataka. To quote him directly, of all the baseball players in our generation, Ichiro is our hero. And that, of course, includes me. Everyone thinks of him that way. I mean, Cooperstown is calling in a couple years for Ichiro. Let's be real. And I can only imagine how cool that must be to sit across from a future Hall of Famer. Mets starting pitcher Kodai Senga had a bit of an issue with the mound after a rain delay in the top of the 7th at Citi Field yesterday. He slipped off the mound during his delivery and his warm-up pitches, and Mets manager Buck Showalter removed him from the game as a precautionary measure. Now, he isn't injured. That was just, okay, I'm not risking my multi-million-dollar prize horse coming out cold from a rain delay on bad mound ground. And, of course, we have to talk about the unicorn. This one from ESPN Stats. Shohei Ohtani is the first player in MLB history to record 40 home runs and 15 stolen bases in a team's first 115 games. The only other player with a similar pace, Ken Griffey Jr., who needed 5 more games to get to that level back in 1998. And Griffey didn't pitch.
Yeah, I was gonna say. You know what's interesting? Actually, just today I was talking to someone about I met someone at a coffee shop and was talking about the Japanese baseball thing, and he was like, "Oh, hey, yeah, the Japanese, they got that Ohtani guy there, right? Like that guy's crazy." And it's like, yeah, he's breaking that barrier of just people who don't even know baseball being like, "Yeah, I've heard about this superstar."
One of my favorite things about Ohtani is if you go back to his rookie year and maybe the year or two after that, when he hits a home run, he was just kind of still running it out, just, dropping the bat and whatever. And now he hits a home run and he's launching that bat into the upper deck. He's watching that like for a good several seconds before he runs the bases. Like he just knows he's the best person on the field now at any point in time.
And yet the Angels have still lost 7 in a row.
It's impressive. That's actually what I find really funny too, is that my friends who don't follow baseball but they're like aware of sports in a general sense, so like, man, it's crazy. So this team has this guy, but the team sucks. I'm like, yeah.
Better yet, there's a Japanese term, like a Japanese slang term and hashtag specifically used whenever the Angels lose with Ohtani involved. Na-o-e in the first 2 characters in hiragana, the last in katakana, is a truncation of Nao Enjerus wa, which basically means, as a side note, the Angels were losing or lost. It's like you're familiar with the Tungsten Armo Doyle tweet. It's the Japanese equivalent of that, and believe it or not, that tweet has leapt over the language barrier, and there have been articles about Tangusuten Odoyuru in the Japanese press.
Quick, just a little sort of side note for me. There's words that are hiragana and katakana.
Oh yeah, you can mix and
God.
match the two. Yeah.
Oh no.
Well, katakana is always used for loan words.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
most of the terms in the broadcast that we are simulcasting, hiragana would be for like participles. So if say if Otani and Ichiro hit home runs, it'd be, or no, sorry, if the Angels and Blue Jays both hit home runs, it would be Enjeru to Blue Jays, and the to in the middle, that's in hiragana because that's the participle for and.
Oh God.
Then I don't know if it's like proper grammar or whatever, but a lot of my Japanese friends, when they're writing out their name, if they're not putting it in kanji, they will put their name in katakana.
That's sort of like the cool thing to do. Yeah.
Oh
Edgy.
God, there's kanji too. I'm never gonna get a hang of this.
No, I've given up on kanji. As long as you can converse in it, it's fine.
Fair enough, I guess. And so that brings us finally around to our question of the day. What piece of merchandise or memorabilia are you coveting the most right now? Actually, I'll start with you, Michael, because I know you're a bit of a sort of like what collectible head. You know, you really like collectibles and stuff. So what are you looking for these days?
So NPB related, obviously the one I would like the most would be an AG Sawamura autograph. They are out there. They are very rare. They are very expensive.
Damn.
Or Victor Starfin is a bit less rare. He signed a lot, but he's still expensive. But from a more realistic standpoint, I would like a certified on-card autograph, meaning it's from a pack from one of the companies, and it's actually signed by him. He held the card of Sadahara O, preferably a dual autograph with him and Nagashima. They are out there. And I want the pre-certified ones from the trading card companies because I have on very, very, very good authority from multiple people that some that are out there on pieces of paper or posters or postcards or pictures that are certified by third-party companies, he knows for a fact that they are forged because he's a very forged signature.
Okay.
I mean, it's not even like it's easy to forge. It's just forgers are just, they get better every day, every year at it. So I want the on-card autograph of Sadahara O and preferably the dual autograph of him and Nagashima. Those are very rare. I think when they put them in the sets, they're usually numbered out of 5.
So I think it's pretty funny that I asked you what piece of memorabilia you want. You're basically like, oh, the Honus Wagner tobacco card. Yeah.
Yeah, just hand it over.
Yeah, if you got a Babe Ruth card lying around, yeah, that'd be cool.
Give me the 52 mantle. Throw it out.
What about you, Gabe?
A 2001 era Osaka Kintetsu Buffaloes cap. I have a cap of every single active franchise on my wall. If you take a look at my Twitter, you'll be able to spot pictures of the hat rack in standings order. But the Kintetsu Buffaloes merged into the Oryx Buffaloes we know and love today. Maybe I'll do a Gabe's History Corner on that. But the logo is pristine for that team. And especially the 2000s era cap, that's the era of Tuffy Rhodes. That's the era of Norihiro Nakamura. It's the buffalo head in white with red eyes on a navy blue cap. Timeless fit, and I am covetous of it.
Oh, that is a clean hat, actually. Wow, that looks sick. I'm not a big hat guy, but that's really cool, actually. And for me, I'm not a big memorabilia kind of guy, so my answer is probably going to be pretty basic. Just be either that we talked about the Marines. I forgot what year it was, but they had those summer jerseys that just look like a Hawaiian shirt. That just goes with my wardrobe. That works for me. I can go down with that.
I think it was the 2018 Summerfest.
Yeah. Or I would love, actually, those Miami Vice ones are pretty good too. I can get down with that. I'd also really like the Hawks, the current summer Hawks jerseys with the kind of teal ones. That can go well with my uniform. I'm really worried about getting like memorabilia from Japan because I'm a very big guy and I'm worried that like the biggest Japanese size isn't going to fit me. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And so those were our answers. And now what are your answers? What piece of memorabilia or merchandise would you love to get from an NPB team? We'd love to see your comments as always. And as always, thank you ever so much for listening. Please check out all the other videos on this channel, including the live broadcast games and the highlights. And we will join you next week for another podcast. Take care.